That was Dave Doeren as we came back from the break. And how does State get better after the Notre Dame loss? It's kind of hard to judge. Look, NC State's defense is going to be fine. I understand that Notre Dame ran for a bunch of yards, and the first play after the almost 2-hour weather delay, was the 80-yard touchdown run, right? I understand that. I expected it. When we talked to other people, maybe they weren't as expecting it. I expected Notre Dame to have success running the football behind their offensive line. Again, because I watched State against Connecticut, and while, yes, there was only the one big play, and Connecticut was ultimately controlled by NC State, which it should, there were normal, successful run plays for Connecticut in between the tackles that concerned me going to this game. Did State get destroyed on the ground? No, not really. But Notre Dame controlled the line of scrimmage. This will not happen, by the way, against VMI. I hate the fact that we're playing this game in week 3. Hate it. This, to me, is either a week 1 game or second to last game of the season before you're about to play a rivalry game. I don't see the benefit for games like this. The bigger concern for a lot of us is why NC State has been so meh offensively. I'm not blaming Brennan Armstrong. Armstrong has had a lot of good throws dropped. Wide receiver has not been the beacon of success for NC State so far this season. They need to be better at wide receiver. They need to be better at running routes. They need to be better at catching balls that, where they're not wide open, you have to make difficult contested catches. We haven't really seen that at all from the Wolfpack. So they have to get better at that. Armstrong hasn't been great, but I think his receivers have failed him far more than he has failed them. All right, so coming out of Notre Dame, going into VMI, Dave Doeren on how they have tried to get better after the loss.
Really focused. I think the guys, as I've said many times this week, we're excited to get back out there and lock in on some of the things that we all felt like we could have done better, that were costly things during the last game. And anytime you lose a game, it's an opportunity for growth, and so we definitely took advantage of that opportunity in practice this week.
All right, what do you need to improve on heading into this one?
Yeah, I think really it's eye discipline issues that you saw. Play actions is when tight ends usually are incorporated the most in a pass game. And with Notre Dame, that's what they did. They were smart about it. In the second half, they went to some play actions and nakeds, and unfortunately our guys did not do what we asked them to with their eyes on those plays. So it's a great chance to learn and get better. And we know, and regardless of what play we're talking about, if someone has continued success on anything in college football, the next team, they're going to run those plays until you prove that you've got that problem fixed. We do the same thing. So, yeah, we look forward to that. That's a challenge for these guys this week, is to improve their eye discipline.
Well, it's natural. That's the whole point behind play action, right? The whole point behind using your running game to set up your passing game is to get the defense to commit because, they're going to run it again. Oops. And then you don't. So that's the whole point. So it's about deception. It's about fooling the other team. That's the play act. It's why you do it. It's why you fake a handoff. So when Notre Dame has success running the ball, yeah, they're going to beat you in the passing game. That's what we've been talking about. Now, when State has the ball, their run game hasn't been awesome. It's been okay. Not awesome. But they have a lot of young receivers who haven't yet clicked. They also have some guys that we've seen that haven't caught the ball. And here's Dave Doeren on the receiving core and the drops.
You just keep talking to them. Hey, look, you're a great player. This is something you're going to have to battle through. You've made a lot of plays in your career, and why did that happen? You know, it took your eyes off the ball. One of the interception play, as soon as that ball got there, he turned to run. And so we call that framing the catch. And so there's little things that you preach a lot. And like I've said many times this week, if you're a parent, you really understand this, but sometimes you'll tell your kid something 100 times, and until he actually suffers the lesson, he doesn't get what you're saying. And so that had to happen with some guys in this game, and freshmen are definitely a part of that, some of these guys, right? So they're going to be 1,000 times better for the lessons they're learning right now. And it's just about accelerating that curve with them right now. And we have a lot of trust and faith, you know, in KC and Vereen and Kendrick Raphael, or we wouldn't put them out there in a game like Notre Dame. You know, they've proven that they deserve those reps through their work and practice.
All right, so I know Duke went through it this past week against Lafayette, and they didn't look great early, but they kind of figured it out as the game wore on, and then they looked dominant. And granted, they didn't play all their starters very much. I mean, Riley Leonard, I think, did he play the full first half? I don't know. I mean, 12 of 12 and then left. I was like, did he get hurt? Nope. They just took him out, which is fine. But NC State, here's why I'm not sure that you can learn anything. Maybe some guys can get some confidence from a game like this. You're playing VMI. You should be able to do anything you want if you're NC State. You should be able to run it whenever you want. You should be able to throw it whenever you want. The only benefit I see to this game is guys should leave the field with a positive self-image. So Armstrong should look good in the passing game, and the receivers should look good catching the ball and running routes, and the running back should all look good, and that should be their feeling heading into the next week. But in terms of what's real for a team, I just don't know what can be real for NC State. I get these games in week one. I understand. It's like a preseason game. If you're not going to play a high-level opener, and State opened at Connecticut, which does not fall into the category of high-level opener, that game this week would make more sense to me. VMI in week one, this game in week two, this would make more sense to me, right? Of course, I talked about how good the opener was against Connecticut with Notre Dame the next week, because I do think that was important. But I would think playing doesn't even have to be a losable game, but at least an FBS opponent in week three, as we're starting to get into the meat of the schedule and the conference season starting soon, that to me would be a much better game. I just don't know what you learn from this. I don't. So, like I've heard some comments like we're going to let it all rip against VMI. So what? So whatever. I want to see this team look the right way, but I just don't know, and it's going to look the right way. If it doesn't, then there's trouble. I just don't know what you get out of it. I really don't. I think FCS games should not be part of the schedule once we get into it. I really do.